Yeah.
Well, hi, Deborah. Hi, John. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us today and sharing your journey, your project with other customers. I know they'll be delighted and they'll find it very useful to hear about your project. Can you cast your minds back when this was just an idea, a figment of your imagination, and tell us what you were trying to achieve?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got a really large, nice garden, and we wanted to sort of make most use of that. So we decided to replace an old conservatory on the back of the house with an oak-framed orangery instead, which has floor-to-ceiling windows, so we get good views out, but also to get natural light inside, because it's quite large, we've got a large roof lantern as well. And it's worked perfectly for us. We basically live in this room. Our neighbours think the house is unoccupied because from the road, it doesn't look like there's anybody here. We're always in the back. So yeah, we've got a lovely, large, green oak framed orangery here that allows us to sort of live a lovely, casual existence, overlooking the garden, doing what we like.
What prompted you to look at getting an electric roof lantern blind? Or did you look at some other options first?
We really wanted something. I mean, because we became aware that in the summer in particular, because we use the space so often and now we are retired, we're here a lot more than we actually used to be. We're conscious that sort of from late morning through to sort of mid-afternoon, the sun can be a problem if you're sat, in the space. It can be a problem in terms of, getting in your eyes. And we found that if we were sat out here in certain positions, then you actually needed to have a baseball cap on or something, or you were sat there doing this. And, that clearly wasn't satisfactory. We wanted to therefore resolve that. So that's when we started looking at the option of having, something that we could have open when the sun isn't a problem, but equally we can close it off and shade the relevant part of the lantern blind when the sun is out. And so that we can be out here any time of the day, any time of the year, and be comfortable, without having to, resort to shading and manual shading and hats and so on.
Yeah. Also, there's glare on. We've got a TV mounted on the wall. Certain times of the day, you would get glare on that, which any number of baseball caps would not cure. So we needed to resolve that if we could. And, we do occasionally find ourselves working out here for whatever reason. So laptop screens, again, could get washed out, because we like to sit underneath the lantern, and it lets a lot of light in, and sometimes when the sun's bright, it washes out the screen. So yeah, we needed to manage the amount of light coming into the room.
Yeah, so you found window treat, and we're delighted you did. But I presume you shopped around, you had a look around. What options did you look at?
Yeah, so we started various searches on the internet to see what options were available, and to look at various companies that could potentially offer what we were looking for. So we contacted a number of different companies, including Window Treat, to see what solutions you could offer for a lantern of the size that we have.
Yes, and how was that experience with Window Treat? You met Chris. I believe he would have done a Teams call with you, a video call, and taken you through some information.
It was really good, actually. We sort of felt that Chris was listening to us, which was a good thing. And he was quite knowledgeable, which meant, rather than us trawl through all the information on your website, he could direct us to the parts that were of most relevance to us, so we could do a proper job researching the various options. And he was also able to point us in the direction of some videos of actual blinds in place. That helped us visualize what we actually wanted to make sure we made the right choice.
And really, from our point of view, the process was very easy, very simple. We spoke, as you said, to Chris on Teams call. And then when we had queries after we'd looked at the presentation that he sent to us, we were able to go back to him and say, well, could you clarify this? What does that mean? Etc. And he would come back quickly and we would resolve those sort of concerns or whatever very quickly and simply.
And he was very generous with the samples he sent as well. It actually helped us get a proper idea of what fabric we needed, rather than some silly little swatch type things which just help you know what it looks like. We were actually able to sort of try the shading properties of the different fabrics to decide which was the best one for us.
And of course, you ultimately chose window treat. What were the main reasons you chose window treat?
So from my point of view, I mean, I was very clear in my own mind. I didn't want something with visible wires. We wanted something where when the blind is retracted, there is nothing visible in the roof lantern. And equally, I also wanted something that was clean looking and we could maintain in a good condition. I didn't want something like the concertina type blind or honeycomb blind because, I'm conscious of insects and so on that get up there, and I didn't want in sort of 6 months' time the blinds to be, basically captured a load of unwanted guests. So we wanted something, it's very, very clear to me what we needed. And then it was a case of procuring something that met those specifications, and the window treat solution was spot on in that regard.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we didn't want something that looked like it was an afterthought, even though arguably it was, because we fitted the blind a few years after we finished the orangery. But the videos helped. We could see how the blind looked, open and closed. And what was most important was the fabric looks like it's robust and solid. It's not trying to sort of sag into the room, which, yeah, that wouldn't have looked right at all. So
it's nice and tight.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, we're both scientists, and when the engineering was explained to us, we could understand exactly what goes into these things and why you needed certain qualities of materials, including the blind material, to make it work properly.
And of course, you went for what we call the Twin Athena. So it's two blinds that meet in the middle. You've got such a large roof lantern, very long roof lantern, and the Athena blind has an incredible amount of tension across the fabric, which is why you went through that bit of the engineering talk, and which keeps it so flat in the same plane as the ceiling, as the roof.
Absolutely, yes, yeah, and also because it's a twin, as Deborah said earlier, we've got the option of partially shading part of the lantern if we wanted to, rather than having it completely closed, or if we had a single piece that went from one end to the other, having to cover the entire lantern only to need to block one end of it.
And what was your experience with the installation?
It was very, very good. The installer was very, very professional. They were very clean and tidy. They took a lot of time and trouble initially, for obvious reasons, to ensure the frame was installed squarely. Because our lantern is oak framed, it sort of, obviously it's not precise because the wood has moved over time.
And continues to move.
Yeah. So, it's important that the frame was packed out and was perfectly square. So a lot of time and trouble was taken to do that. And then the installer actually talked us through some options in terms of like sealing the edges and how to make it look neat and tidy, and said, you know, you can either have oak fitting around the edges, or you could have a white fitting around the edges. You know, what would you prefer? You know, for various reasons, and we were able to discuss it and consider it, and then come up with what we thought was the best option. So the installation process, again, as I say, was very good. We can't fault it really.
No,
It was
no.
quick,
There's
efficient.
a lot of sugar in his tea, though, your installer.
Yes, yes, yes. That's a
He
remarkable.
works hard, I think.
That's well observed. Had to go out and buy some more sugar afterwards.
Yeah.
But thank you for being such a wonderful host to our installers. Yes, and has the Twin Athena blind provided the glare control you were looking for at the outset, both for your eyes, so you don't need to wear baseball caps. You're not wearing baseball caps today.
No, we're not. We're not. And yeah, it's, as Deborah said, it's done exactly what we wanted it to, in all respects. It looks good. It looks like it was designed in, you know, properly. It's nice and quiet when it operates, and it seems to operate at the right speed. I don't know. You kind of get a feeling for how quickly these things should move, and it moves at the right speed as far as we're aware. And another sort of bonus, which we'd sort of thought about, but it wasn't a major concern of ours, was reflecting the heat in the summer. As you know, if we are out and the sun's coming through the lantern blind, it could get quite warm in here. You know, well, very warm. And it's noticeable that if we put the blind across before we go out, it's several degrees cooler when we get back in than it would have been without it. So that's a bit of a bonus for us, really.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I've just got one last question, really, and it's the $1 million question. Would you recommend Window Treat to friends and family?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, we would. In fact, we wouldn't need to, because friends and family have been round and already commented on how cool it looks.
Oh, that's music to my ears.
Yes.
And for other people watching the video, it'd be wonderful if they could have a look at it opening and closing.
Great.
That's fantastic. Thank you ever so much.